It's 11:40 at night, and a grown man is sitting at his kitchen table, redoing work that was already done. Not done badly, done. Finished, submitted, fine. Somebody handed it to him at 4 in the afternoon, and he said thank you, and he meant it. And then at 11, he opened it up and started moving things around, changing the order, rewriting a heading no human being will ever read. He'll tell himself he's being thorough. He'll tell himself this is what it looks like to care about your work. And in the morning, he'll send it out and never mention that he touched it. Here is what nobody explains to a man in the middle of that. Everything that made him worth promoting is now the exact thing standing in his way. His whole life he's been paid for one thing, being the guy who can do it. Do it fast, do it right, do it himself. That got him hired. That got him noticed. That got him a title, and 3 people who report to him now, and a wife who would like about 10 minutes of his face that isn't lit up blue. And that skill has taken him as far as that skill goes. Not because it was ever wrong, because it was built for a different season. There's a version of a man that is exactly right at 24 and quietly expensive at 32. I know that man well because I spent about 18 months being him. And I need you to picture how ridiculous it was. I got my first 3 direct reports on a Tuesday. I remember it was a Tuesday because my manager told me on the way to the elevator, the way you'd tell somebody the parking garage is full. Oh, those 3 are yours now. Doors closed. That was the training. So I did what I thought a leader does. I called a meeting. I had an agenda. I had a whiteboard. And I want to be clear, nothing on that whiteboard needed to be on a whiteboard. I drew a box. I don't know what the box was. I stood in front of it for a while like the box was going to explain itself. And then I delegated. That's the word I used, out loud, to my wife that night, like I'd invented it. I delegated the quarterly report, very proud of myself. Handed the whole thing to a guy on my team who was completely capable of doing it, who had in fact been doing pieces of it for a year. He turned it in early. It was good. And that night I opened it and rewrote it. Not all of it. That's what I told myself. Just the framing, just the opening paragraph, and the section order, and the chart, and, okay, all of it. I rewrote all of it. Then I sent it out under both our names like a generous man. And when he came by my desk the next morning and said, "Hey, did that work?" I said, "Yeah, man, great job." I lied to his face at 9 in the morning about a document I had rewritten at midnight, and I felt good about it. I felt like I was protecting him. He stopped turning things in early after that. Took me a year to understand why. He didn't know I'd rewritten it, but he could feel it. Men can always feel it. You can hide the edit. You cannot hide that you don't trust him. And I would love to tell you I only did this at work. My wife loads the dishwasher. She loads it like a normal person. Plates roughly downward, cups roughly upward. The general spirit of the thing is honored. I load it like I'm being graded. And for a stretch of about 6 months, after she'd go up to bed, I would go into the kitchen, open the dishwasher she had already loaded, and rearrange it, silently, in the dark, like a man defusing a bomb. She caught me. Of course she caught me. I was standing in a kitchen at midnight, holding a bowl. There is no innocent explanation for that. And she didn't yell. She just said, "So you've been redoing this?" And I said the thing. I said, "I'm just trying to help." Now, here's what's strange about the moment we're in. Everything a young man hears is engineered to make him better at exactly the thing he needs to stop doing. Nobody is coming to save you. Outwork everybody. If you want it done right, do it yourself. Sleep is for people without goals. That advice is not stupid. It's actually pretty good advice for about 8 years. Somewhere between 19 and 27, a man genuinely does need to learn that the work is his and no one is coming. That season is real, and skipping it wrecks people. The problem is nobody rings a bell when it ends. So you get this whole population of men who mastered the curriculum, graduated with honors, and then kept taking the class. 34 years old, 3 direct reports, 2 kids, and still running the operating system of a guy trying to prove he belongs in the building. Still measuring the day by how much came out of his own 2 hands. And the leadership research is almost funny about how predictable this is. Men get promoted because they're the best individual contributor. Then they get to management and find out it isn't a promotion at all. It's a career change. Different job, different skill, same salary review. New managers routinely end up working more hours after the promotion, not fewer, which if you think about it for 1 second makes no sense whatsoever. You just got 3 more people. The math should go the other way. The math only goes the wrong way if you're doing your job and quietly doing theirs too. We've turned self-reliance into a personality. There are men who will tell you they're drowning in the same breath they tell you they can't hand anything off. And never once notice those 2 sentences are holding hands, and it follows him home. There's a Pew study this year. Nearly half of full-time working fathers say the job at least sometimes makes them miss their kids' thing. The concert, the game, the whatever. And most of them feel awful about it. About 1 in 5 say they carry real guilt about not being present enough. Fathers describe the voice in their head almost identically. You should be there. And when you are there, you should be better. Nobody hears that voice and concludes he should do less. He hears it and concludes he should do more, harder, faster. And then he's on the couch at 11:40 at night, rewriting somebody else's report. The other survey out this summer said over half of men feel that financial struggle has made them fall short of being a man. Frustrated, overwhelmed, anxious. And the line that stopped me cold was from a financial counselor who works with these men every day. She said they're carrying it completely alone because asking for help feels like proof that they're failing. That's the whole thing. That's the engine. A man doesn't hoard work because he thinks he's better than everyone. He hoards it because letting go of it feels like admitting something. So what does a man actually do? The first thing is to find out where you are the bottleneck. And you can't do that from memory. You have to watch for a week. Not judge, watch. Every time something in your life is sitting still, waiting for you to touch it before it can move, write it down. The approval nobody can give but you. The email that's been in drafts because you want to word it right. The thing at home that only gets done when you do it, which means it only gets done when you have energy, which means it mostly doesn't get done. A man is usually shocked by that list. He walks around feeling like the engine of his life, and the list shows him he's the traffic light. Then comes the part that costs something. When a man finally starts handing work off, he hands off the stuff he doesn't like. That's not delegation. That's just chores with extra steps. And everyone underneath him knows exactly what happened. Give away something you're good at, something you'd be a little sad not to do. That's the only handoff that transfers anything, because that's the only one that says, I think you can carry weight, instead of, I found something beneath me. Then transfer the standard, not the task. This is the piece almost no first-time leader gets right, and I include myself for years. You have a picture in your head of what finished looks like. You've never said it out loud. You've only ever enforced it, by fixing things, by frowning at things, by going quiet. So say it. Here's what good looks like to me. Here's what I actually care about. Here's what I don't care about at all. That last part is the gift. Half of what a man silently demands is preference he's never examined. Say it out loud and you find out which half. And then you have to survive the worse version. Because it will be worse. The first 3 times, it will be worse. This is the hinge the whole thing turns on. A man who takes it back on day 2 has not learned that his people are incapable. He has taught them that trying is pointless. And he's confirmed to himself that he's the only one who can, which is the outcome he was secretly rooting for. Something done at 80% by someone who's growing beats something done at 100 by a man who is running out. At home, the shape of it changes. And I want to be careful here, because a wife is not a direct report, and a home is not an org chart. Your marriage isn't a thing to be optimized, but the reflex is the same reflex, and it does the same damage. When she hands you something, take it and do it your way. When she does something her way, let it stand. She doesn't need your competence. She has her own. What she's asking for is your company. And there is a specific kind of loneliness a woman feels living with a man who reviews her. With your kids, it's even simpler and harder. A 4-year-old is going to do it badly. That's not a phase to be managed. That's the entire point of a 4-year-old. If you cannot let a child pour the milk, you are not going to be able to let a 16-year-old make a decision. You're practicing on someone who forgives you, so you're ready for someone who won't. There's a passage in Exodus that I did not understand until I had people to lead. Moses is judging Israel. He sits from morning until evening, and the people stand around him all day, waiting their turn, because every question routes through him. And his father-in-law Jethro watches this for one day. One day. And he says something that has stayed with me. What you are doing is not good. You and these people will surely wear yourselves out, for this thing is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. Read that carefully. Jethro doesn't say Moses is doing it wrong. He doesn't question his ability. Moses was, by any measure, the most qualified man in that camp. He'd been on the mountain. He'd seen the sea open. He was the best man in the room, and everybody knew it. Jethro says it's too heavy. And then he tells him to find capable men and give them the smaller cases, and keep only what actually requires him. Notice what that costs Moses. He becomes less visible. Fewer people come to him. Some of those judgments get made worse than he would have made them. He accepts that, and it is the reason the nation survives the wilderness. A man who insists on being the only door becomes the door everyone is stuck behind. And Christ does the same thing, which I find harder to explain away. He sends out the 12. He gives work to men who are demonstrably going to do it worse than he would. He could have done all of it himself, perfectly, and instead he spends 3 years making people who can carry it after him. That is not efficiency. That is love, choosing the slow way on purpose. Paul writes that the body has many parts, and the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you. Most men reading that hear a lesson about humility, about not thinking too highly of yourself. It's the opposite, too. It's a warning against thinking you are the whole body. Sometimes the most arrogant thing a man does is refuse help and call it responsibility. I still think about that guy who stopped turning things in early. He works somewhere else now. He's good. And I don't lose sleep over the report. The report doesn't matter. The report never mattered. Nobody has read that report since 2019. What I think about is that for a year, I was the reason a capable man got smaller, and I was doing it in the name of high standards, at midnight, alone, feeling noble about it. Every task you take back is a dishwasher you rearranged in the dark. So here's this week's one thing, not a system, not a new morning routine. Hand off one thing you're good at, one at work, one at home. And don't take it back this week. Not the thing you hate, something you're proud of. Give it away, say out loud what done looks like, and then let it be done worse than you would have done it, and say nothing. Not a correction, not a helpful tweak at 11:40 at night, not a look. 7 days, that's it. It will feel like losing something. That feeling is the whole exercise. That's what it costs to become a man other men can grow next to. If it helps, I built a short worksheet for this, a 1-week handoff plan. You write down where things are waiting on you, you pick the one, you name the standard, and there's a place to keep track of every time you almost took it back. It's free. It's linked below. It takes about 20 minutes to fill out. Here's the sentence I'd say out loud if I were you. I am not the most valuable thing I produce. And then, this is the part I want you to actually hear. You're not going to be good at this by Friday. I'm still not good at it, and I've known about it for years. There's no week where a man arrives at this. You get a little more willing to be handed something, and a little slower to take it back, and the road keeps going. Where you are right now is a man who was rewarded for carrying everything, standing at the edge of a season that's going to ask him to carry people instead. That's not a flaw you're fixing. That's the next stretch of it. Give one thing away this week. I'll see you soon.